Have you ever found yourself reflecting on the problems you face on a daily basis? Often, the solutions to our difficulties don't lie in complex answers, but in simple, timeless lessons. In this video, we'll dive into the 7 life lessons that can literally solve 93% of your problems. These are lessons that have crossed centuries, applicable to anyone at any stage of life. If you apply these lessons, your worldview will change, and the way you deal with challenges will be completely transformed. Get ready to write down each of these powerful lessons. Lesson number 1. Accept what you can't control. Accepting what you can't control is one of life's most powerful and life-changing lessons. The essence of this lesson is simple. Much of human suffering comes from resisting what is out of our control. When we try to change circumstances, other people's actions, or even global events that are beyond our reach, we enter a cycle of frustration, anxiety, and stress. Acceptance doesn't mean being passive or resigned to life's difficulties, but rather directing your energy and focus towards what is really under your control, your own actions, reactions, and attitudes. By doing this, you drastically reduce the emotional impact of external problems. Imagine, for example, a situation in which you are stuck in a traffic jam. No matter how stressed or angry you get, the traffic won't flow any faster. What you can control is your attitude to the situation. You can choose to get angry or use this time productively, whether it's listening to a podcast, reflecting, or simply accepting the moment as it is. By applying this lesson on a daily basis, you'll find that much of the anguish and frustration in life dissolves. The key is to recognize the difference between what you can and cannot change, and from there, act wisely and intentionally. Lesson number 2. Learning to say no without guilt. Learning to say no without guilt is an essential skill for a more balanced and satisfying life. We often feel social or emotional pressure to please others, whether at work, in friendships, or with family. This behavior can lead to an overload of responsibilities that aren't ours, and consequently, to feelings of frustration, tiredness, and even resentment. When we say yes to everything, we end up neglecting our own needs and priorities. Learning to say no is actually a form of self-preservation and respect for your own time and energy. The big secret lies in understanding that no doesn't have to be said rudely or selfishly, but firmly and respectfully. By setting clear boundaries, you create space to focus on what really matters to you, whether in your personal, professional, or emotional life. The guilt we often feel when we deny something to someone comes from the mistaken idea that we are being selfish. But actually, saying no is an act of self-care and honesty, both with yourself and with the other person. When you accept commitments you don't want, your energy and motivation decrease, and this can lead to burnout that affects your mental and physical health. By training your ability to say no, you not only protect your own peace, but you also begin to realize that this is a sign of maturity and emotional intelligence. This allows you to say yes with more authenticity and focus. Lesson number 3. Practicing gratitude daily. Practicing gratitude daily is one of the simplest and most powerful attitudes you can adopt to transform your life and solve most of your problems. Gratitude completely changes your mental focus, taking your attention away from difficulties and concentrating on the good things that already exist around you. When you get used to being grateful for life's little and big blessings, even in the midst of challenges, your perspective changes dramatically. You stop living in a state of scarcity and begin to realize that there is abundance in different areas of your life. This doesn't mean ignoring problems, but rather facing them from a strengthened position, because you now recognize how much you have that is positive. Studies show that practicing gratitude is directly related to improved mental health, greater satisfaction with life, and even a reduction in stress and anxiety. By adopting the habit of listing 3 or more things you're grateful for every day, your brain begins to reconfigure itself, looking for positive aspects more often instead of focusing only on what's wrong. This creates a virtuous cycle. The more you are grateful, the more good things you notice, and consequently, the more motivated and happy you become. In addition, gratitude strengthens relationships because when we show appreciation for those around us, we cultivate deeper and healthier connections. By integrating this simple habit into your routine, you will discover that gratitude is an effective tool for overcoming challenges with more resilience and less suffering. Lesson number 4. Take responsibility for your mistakes. This is one of the most transformative lessons you can learn and is a fundamental key to personal growth and problem solving. Many people have a habit of blaming external factors, other people, or even circumstances beyond their control for their failures and challenges. This may seem comfortable in the short term, but it prevents any possibility of real change. When you begin to recognize and accept your share of responsibility for the mistakes you make, you gain the power to learn from those failures and improve yourself. Taking responsibility doesn't mean punishing yourself or feeling bad, but rather seeing your mistakes as opportunities for evolution. This behavior requires humility and courage, but brings immense freedom. When you stop looking for culprits and start reflecting on what you could have done differently, you unlock a mindset of continuous learning. This completely changes your relationship with problems, because you stop seeing them as insurmountable obstacles and start seeing them as lessons that move you forward. What's more, this kind of attitude inspires trust and respect in others. When someone admits their mistakes, it shows maturity and authenticity, which improves relationships and creates an environment of mutual growth. Taking responsibility is therefore a powerful way of solving problems proactively rather than being overwhelmed by them, leading you to take charge of your life with greater clarity and determination. Lesson number 5. Simplify your life. This is a powerful strategy for solving many of the problems we face on a daily basis. Complexity often takes us away from what really matters, creating a mental and emotional overload that paralyzes us. When we accumulate unnecessary responsibilities, superficial commitments, and material possessions that don't add value, our minds become scattered, our energy decreases, and anxiety increases. Simplifying is the act of eliminating what is not essential, allowing you to focus on what really brings meaning and purpose. This can involve anything from reducing social commitments to letting go of objects that take up physical and mental space. By simplifying, you also make room for what's most important: your health, your personal relationships, and your inner growth. We often think that having more things or more activities will bring us more happiness, but the opposite is true. True freedom lies in having time for what really matters, instead of constantly chasing after tasks, possessions, or achievements that deep down don't satisfy. When you get rid of excess, whether material or emotional, your mind clears and your ability to make decisions improves. Life becomes lighter, with fewer distractions, and you feel more in control. Simplifying is, in fact, an act of prioritizing, and by doing so, you solve many of the problems that arise precisely from overload and chaos. This allows you to live with more focus, intentionality, and inner peace, creating a positive cycle where less becomes more. Lesson number 6. Develop self-discipline. This is one of the most powerful tools for transforming your life and solving most of your problems. Self-discipline is the ability to maintain focus and persistence towards your goals, even in the face of challenges, distractions, or discouragement. Contrary to what many people think, self-discipline is not about forcing yourself to do what you don't like, but about building the habit of making decisions that are in line with your values and goals, even when the rewards are not immediate. Lack of self-discipline is often the reason why we procrastinate, deviate from our goals, or feel overwhelmed. Without it, we are at the mercy of our momentary impulses and negative habits. However, when you develop this skill, you become more in control of your own life. You begin to establish and stick to routines that strengthen your progress, whether at work, in your health, or in your relationships. Small, consistent steps carried out with self-discipline accumulate big results over time. The key is to start with small daily commitments and stick to them, even if you don't see immediate results. Over time, your willpower increases, and what once seemed difficult becomes a natural part of your routine. What's more, self-discipline provides a sense of self-confidence and personal control that helps you face any challenge with more resilience. In a world full of distractions, those who manage to stay focused and act consistently towards their goals are the ones who achieve true and lasting success. Lesson number 7. Practicing empathy and forgiveness. Practicing empathy and forgiveness is one of the most effective ways of resolving problems involving relationships and personal conflicts. Empathy allows us to see the world through the eyes of others, understanding their emotions, motivations, and difficulties. When you put yourself in other people's shoes, you realize that many conflicts and hurts arise from misunderstandings or frustrated expectations. This understanding opens doors to forgiveness, which is liberating for both the forgiver and the forgiven. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or approving harmful actions, but rather deciding not to carry the weight of anger or resentment. By practicing forgiveness, you release an emotional burden that often consumes your energy and affects your mental and physical health. People who can't forgive tend to get stuck in the past, continually reliving pain and suffering, which prevents growth and inner peace. On the other hand, by choosing empathy and forgiveness, you create an environment of compassion and healing, both for yourself and for others. This strengthens personal bonds and opens up space for new opportunities for growth, both in relationships and in your own life journey. When you understand that everyone is dealing with their own internal battles, it becomes easier not to judge and release resentment. The daily practice of empathy and forgiveness not only resolves old conflicts, but also prevents new problems from taking root, allowing you to live with more lightness, understanding, and harmony. By applying these 7 life lessons consistently, you will be taking significant steps towards solving 93% of your problems. Each of these lessons has the power to transform different aspects of your life, from your mindset to your relationships and mental health. Accepting what you can't control brings a sense of peace and relieves unnecessary stress. Learning to say no without guilt protects your energy and time, while practicing gratitude gives you a new perspective, where abundance becomes more visible. Taking responsibility for your mistakes strengthens your character and puts you in control of your own journey, while simplifying your life eliminates the excess that causes confusion and anxiety. Developing self-discipline allows you to move forward consistently, even when the path seems difficult. And finally, practicing empathy and forgiveness promotes inner peace and healthier relationships. Together, these lessons form a powerful system that balances your life, strengthens your resilience, and creates a cycle of continuous growth. There is no magic solution to all problems, but by adopting these practices, you will find that many of the challenges that previously seemed impossible to overcome become more manageable, and you will be better prepared to deal with adversity with serenity and wisdom. Thus, your life will become lighter, more focused, and above all, more satisfying. Real change starts from within, and these lessons are the path to a life of greater balance, peace, and purpose. Only for the determined people who stayed until the end of the video, comment below, "I stayed until the end." That way I'll know who is really looking for a real change in their life. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like and see you in the next video.